Sarah, welcome to Real Pod.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Thanks, I'm happy to have you. Your new show is out on Hallmark,
Yes.
Mistletoe Murders. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So have you been making the press rounds just like every day?
So much. It's like a full-time job, and it's not letting up. I mean, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love that Hallmark Plus is really supporting getting the word out for this show, because I want to scream about it from the rooftops because I'm so proud of it.
Oh, what makes you so proud of it?
It's such a beautifully written and clever concept, melding the two worlds of mystery and Christmas together into this way that you're like, can that work? And then it really does.
Yeah.
You know, and it was such a beautiful experience. I had probably one of the best experiences of my entire career shooting this show.
Wow.
Just in terms of, I'm an executive producer on it as well. So the collaboration was so incredible. The leadership was so loving. The crew's really taken care of. And everybody showed up with a whole heart, full heart every day. Love working with Peter Mooney and Sierra Riley. And then the show itself, it feels a lot like Veronica Mars meets Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
With maybe a little bit of Alias sprinkled in there as well.
I love that. I
It's
mean,
a really
who
fun
doesn't want to
character.
murder around Christmas time?
Everybody
come
wants
on.
murder at Christmas.
Making some cookies, binge watching. It's fun.
It's super fun. And it's really intriguing. There's a lot of adventure in it and intrigue, as well as just the cozy mysteries that people love when they turn on a mystery show. There's like some grit to it and some depth and some emotional depth that my character really goes through that feels very satisfying as an actor.
That's great. It's powerful, too, that you said it's one of your favorite things you've ever worked on, because you have had a very successful, long career. I mean, you were on Broadway. You were doing voice acting in high school, grew up in New York. Do you think that's what drew you to the arts, is being in that sort of city? Or
Yeah, I actually lived out on Long Island, so it was a very different, very suburban, not in the main hubbub of all of that stuff. But I will say I had a very hard time socially making friends, and there's a lot of bullying and stuff when I was a kid. I had a really, really hard time finding my people. And it was only on stage that I felt like really alive and really comfortable in my skin, which was weird because I was in somebody else's skin playing a role. But I found that was a place where I was good at something and I felt really free to feel all the feelings I wanted to feel. And so from before I can remember, I've been singularly focused on wanting to be an actor.
I'm so sad whenever I hear someone say that they were bullied in childhood.
Yeah.
It's like, why are kids so mean?
They're so mean. So we used to do this. It's so sad. The tradition itself is very lovely. My parents would do on New Year's Eve this thing called Letters to God, where you would go through your year and basically say all the things you were grateful for and then all the things you're praying for the next year. And we would read the ones from past years before sitting down to write the new ones. And it got to the point where I was like, it's opening so many old wounds to read these letters that I don't think I can do this tradition anymore. And that happened in my 20s, where I was like, you guys, I can't keep doing
I don't even know what I was
this.
struggling with at 8. Thank you, though, for the concept.
Every letter for the years of elementary school were, dear God, please send me a friend.
Oh my
Just one
gosh.
friend will do. Mrs. Gaglione from church, who takes me to ice cream and yard sales, is nice. And I pray that her back will feel better. But I'd love a friend my own age. Like, it was so sad.
What was it that you felt there was a disconnect? Like, were the kids super mean? What was it?
I remember there was this one conversation because I was close with this one girl from church. And then once we were in the same school together, she sort of abandoned me. And her mom had a conversation with my mom, and her mom said, well, she says that Sarah has to at least pretend like she doesn't like the adults and has to pretend like she's kind of a little edgy in order for the other kids to be okay, to like her.
I feel like the older I get, the more I realize how silly the, like, hanging out with your parents is lame or liking the adults is lame. My parents are my friends. I love hanging out with them.
100%. Like, I love my parents so much as well. But I remember my mom told me this, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I mean, that doesn't feel honest and authentic to who I want to be in the world. So, And that was as like a 5th grader or a 4th grader that I was saying that. But there was also like jealousy and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would go and I would always get cast as the lead and whatever.
Theater drama. Well, only one person can be Juliet, and it's Sarah
is
Drew.
This is true.
Yeah, I love that. So something that fascinates me, I really respect when people have a craft and something they want to be really good at. And I think with acting, I don't know if our society like appreciates how much rejection there is, how cutthroat it is, how so few make it. I have a friend who fortunately got a lead role on a network TV show. I was so happy for her. And she told me it came down to her and someone else. And they literally had to decide, do we want this to be more of a drama and intense, or do we want to cast her and have this be more of a comedy? Like, which direction does the show go?
Yeah.
And my friend got the part. So happy for her. And I would see her billboard and everything. And I was like, there's a girl somewhere who sees
like,
that billboard and is like, that was almost me.
Yeah. And it was almost her for such a crazy reason. It was like, it's not even that she was more talented necessarily. It's that the show was like, do we want to go in this energy or this energy? I think you have to understand that when you don't get a part, it's so rarely has to do with your talent. You're in the room getting the opportunity to be called back or whatever because you possess the talent, because everybody who's shown up could play this role, right? And it just comes down to which direction are we going to go? It has to do with just what the creators of the show are feeling for the energy of the person. And you can't change that about yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, there's mostly rejection. You get rejected over 90% of the time.
Well, one of my favorite posts of yours, you were on the verge of tears, which I love the vulnerability. That's my favorite type of Instagram. You said, as actors, we have to make ourselves vulnerable and open-hearted to do our work, but sometimes I feel like we need full body armor because 99% of the time we're rejected.
Yeah.
What inspired you to post that?
Oof. I'd gotten close to something that I really wanted, and I had gone to my first in-person callback since the pandemic. So it had been like 4 years since I'd been in person for anything. I felt like it was a slam dunk. Like I was right for this. I nailed the audition. I nailed the callback. And then they kind of kept me hanging for like 10 days and in a kind of a weird way. And then the response that I got was, oh yeah, they had like several other people that fit better than you did for it. And then to hear several other, I wasn't even close enough. Why did you keep me hanging for 10 days? You know, why didn't you just, if you knew I wasn't the person you wanted for it? And it was just one of those really kind of ugly, crushing moments that I think that since the pandemic, because we're not in the rooms anymore, you kind of send a tape off into the ether. You don't know if anybody's seen it. You do it and you forget about it. But when you're in the mix and they want you to come back and there's conversations about you and then you don't get it, it stings, man. The motivation in the moment for that post was I just got told that I wasn't even like number 2 or number 3. There were like several other choices ahead of me. And then I had to quickly learn new lines for a new thing that I was going on tape for and open my heart all over again and throw myself into something all over again. And it's so hard. It's so hard. And I know everybody in the world knows what rejection feels like. Everybody does. Yeah. I don't know that everybody experiences it in the volume that we do. You know, you get a job in real life and it's like you work up a corporate ladder and you're there for a decade or whatever, and you keep moving forward. And here it's like you do a job and then you might not work for a year, you know, but you might audition for 40 things in the span of that year. And no.
I can imagine how you cope with it, and the strategies you've had have come with experience, right? And knowing like, okay, this didn't work out, but last time something didn't work out, I got something better. And
100%.
You never know what the plan is or what's meant to be. Can you take me back to one of the first times you were rejected in the industry and maybe talk about how now you view it?
And I could just say something like super recent is I didn't get that show.
Yeah.
And I then went and got Mistletoe Murders, and I had the best if not the best, really high up there in terms of the experience of the career and the quality of the show that came out of it. And I would not have gotten that if I had been doing that other thing. It's funny because you'll hear stories about, not necessarily this particular thing, but you'll hear stories from other people about jobs that you didn't get that actually were kind of nightmare experiences.
Wow.
And so there's a sense of, okay, I was protected. It was very specifically a moment of protection where that didn't work out. Same thing with even, not that I want to open the whole Leaving Grace thing again, but just the act of leaving that show and of being written off that show launched me into a world where I'm in a leadership position and I'm producing and I'm directing and I'm writing. I wasn't a writer before. And then all of a sudden I start doing these sweet movies and then meeting these producers who then encourage me to get final draft because they know I can write. And now I've just produced my third film that I wrote.
Right.
So I think what a gift. My philosophy in life, the like engine that drives me, is that you're always going to experience pain. Pain is part of life, right? But there is always something beautiful and hopeful. There's always gold. There's like a golden nugget that exists, and you don't see it and you don't feel it in the moment when it's painful. But I feel like the engine that drives me is sort of being on the hunt for, okay, that didn't happen. I'm redirected somewhere else. Where's the gold? Where can I find the gold? And it's kind of a fun thing to do because I don't avoid the pain. A lot of people avoid the pain or numb the pain or try to get away from the pain or escape the pain or get mad at the pain. I just think the pain is like a beautiful teacher. It's a moment to expand your heart and grow.
Without the pain, you wouldn't have the opportunity to have the good feelings.
No.
I always love talking about that, of how if you didn't feel sad, you would not know happy. Like the two have to coexist, and it's not fun when you're experiencing the negative emotion, but that means that the positive one is going to come soon.
Is so beautiful. I mean, I remember I got a lead role in a pilot, and it didn't go the year after Grey's ended. And I heard this beautiful song while I was on the plane getting ready to go to Vancouver to shoot this show that was called The Republic of Sarah. I was playing Sarah. You know, like just it was such an epic moment of beautiful goodness. And the song was by this artist named Jess Ray called In the Meantime. I'm going to get chills just thinking about it. But it was all about, you don't know what is happening in this moment right now, but I am preparing you for the goodness. And you are going to get to the goodness, and then you're going to understand what it's about. You can't have all the answers right now, but in the meantime, I'm going to love you through the pain. Like that's the sort of message of the song. And I was sitting in my window seat like, like, yes, you're speaking so deeply to my heart. I didn't know what was going to come then when that ended. And here I am walking into this glorious, and it was a glorious experience.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful experience shooting that show. So, yeah, you don't get to experience the epic feeling of joy if you don't also let yourself feel the pain.
Yeah. I can imagine there's an identity shift. When anyone does something for a really long time and then they move on to the next chapter, I'm curious what those conversations were like for you, having been in a specific role for, 9 years, to now have to think about, okay, like, what would it be like for me to tap into a different character, a different situation? Did you have a point in time where you were like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even think about the time then this would be over, and I don't feel like I have a plan? Like, what was it like for you picking up pieces like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a big emotional identity moment for me, for sure. Just a like, oh, I've been that girl from that show for 9 years, or I'm an employed actor on a big show. There's something about owning that and living in that reality that feels really safe and really good and really begins to really become part of your identity. And that's not even including the reality of who living in the skin of this other person. That's another piece of the identity that kind of goes in there. There's moments where April and Sarah just like meld into one, and I would have to like wash her off so I could re-engage with Sarah at the end of the day. You play one character for 10 months out of the year for 9 years, you're going to feel a little enmeshed with that person, right? So it did, you say goodbye to that, and it makes you question, well, if I'm not that girl that's on that show, and if I'm not that employed girl on that big show, who am I? Who am I going to be? When is my next job going to come? Am I going to be re-identified, And I think that was part of the work of the letting go of that, was remembering my true identity, which is that acting is a part of my life and my career is a part of my life, but my life is so much bigger than just the actress part. I am a mother, and I am a wife, and I am a daughter and a sister and a friend with an incredible community of humans. And I have gifts and skills that I bring to my community that have nothing to do with Sarah Drew, the actress. And I think there was something really beautiful about walking into that and getting to live into the truest parts of my identity.
Yeah, we grow in the discomfort, right? And when we don't have all the labels and the things that our identity can cling on to. And I found in various times in my own life, I relate a lot to what you said. When you're moving on from sport, or as a content creator, I would talk a lot about a certain topic for a year or two, and then I have a different interest, or I get married and I want to post about this. And I find that when I struggle and I'm like, I need to know who I am, I need to be able to say, like, when someone asks me a question, this is me, that I'm like, we are going to be forever changing, evolving, undefinable. And as much as always, my mind is going to want to go to the certainty, that it's actually just sitting in the uncertainty where you actually will find the most peace. But that comes from inside you.
Yeah, it has to. It has to come inside you, because especially being in this industry, you have everybody trying to tell you who you are all the time. You have business affairs paying you less than they're paying other people because you are less valuable, according to them. You have press interested in you and then totally ignoring your existence and completely uninterested in you. And then let's not even go into social media. Then you have people commenting on your body and how you look and how you're aging, and anything you say or do. There are so many opinions and so much feedback that's being thrown at you, that if you don't know that your value comes from inside, you will be tossed on the waves of this world. So that is the biggest, deepest work that I try also to give my kids as well. It's like, this is part of me, but this is not the whole me. I'm prouder of myself as a friend than I am as an actor. Like, I care about my friendships. I care about growing in relationships with people and letting people know that they can be exactly who they need to be in my presence. I'm proud of the mother that I am,
Obviously, the Grey's community and show is so iconic, and the fan base is so dedicated, and you have new projects and things you're excited about. How have you handled feeling like people are maybe still in the past, or not kind of meeting you where you're at today?
Yeah, I think kind of right in the aftermath of leaving the show, I got really sick of being asked about the show. And then every time I said anything, it was spun and clickbait headlined into something that was so totally out of context, and then felt sad because I had so much love. Even in the midst of the pain, there was so much love that that was actually my biggest takeaway when I left the show, was an overabundance of love. But now, what's funny, especially over the pandemic, all these people were finding the show for the first time. Watching these, especially these young, tender, 13, 14-year-old girls talk about how much April means to her, especially given that April was kind of bullied early on in the season. Now when people come up to me and they ask me about her, they talk to me about it, it's like, yes, April will be a part of my heart and my life forever. And I got to tell stories that matter and still matter, and people are still discovering it. And I have so much love and joy associated with it. I think right in the aftermath, I was like, can the press please stop asking me about this?
Right.
And now I just realize it's evergreen. April will exist forever. The show will exist forever. And And it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift to get to have that piece of my story.
And always to have the ability to connect with people through the work that you've done
Yes.
at any stage in your life or their
Yes.
life. As you talk about all of this, I can't help but think how being an actress is like an ongoing like therapy session. It's like
gosh.
you're constantly like having to deal with the uncontrollable and be sure of yourself. And I loved your post about the Inside Out 2 movie. It was so good. The movie and your post. So for anyone who didn't see Inside Out 2, go see it. Like pause, go see it, come back to the
have
episode.
to watch this movie. I'm obsessed with this movie. I have anxiety. I've been medicated for anxiety. I've had seasons of going on medication for it. I've been in therapy for anxiety. Anxiety is a thing that is with me. So in this story, the depiction of anxiety when she's at the control center and she's spinning 100 miles an hour and also not moving. I'm getting full body chills.
No, I like could cry too. It's such a good depiction.
It is so exactly what a panic attack feels like. And being able to visualize it also with the compassion of her presence is there because she loves Riley. She loves Riley and she wants to take care of her. So she's trying to be vigilant. She's trying to like see all the solutions that could possibly go wrong and then be prepared for them so that if they go wrong, she'll be okay. She's going to be okay. Everything about anxiety is to help you be okay, right? And Joy, oh my God, I'm just going to cry. Joy showing up and like fighting so hard to get to the steering wheel, but the energy of the panic attack is so intense that she can't make it even though she's trying her hardest. And the only moment when she's able to get back to the steering wheel is when all the emotions pull up the central core identity, which is now a big, messy, all kinds of stuff core, not just the good memories, but all the things that make a person. And they all embrace her. They embrace their sweet Riley that they all love, and they hold her, and she is safe. And only when she's safe does she go, okay, Joy, you can come back to the steering wheel. And that's when Joy has the ability to go and say, you've done your work. You can go sit down. I got it from here. And then the like Joy theme plays and you just watch her on the ice rink in all the delight and joy of hitting the puck. And you're like, yes, you are living in the present moment right now. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. This is joy. Joy is being here now, doing a thing that you love with your whole heart. And I feel that so much because it's so easy in my industry also to when you jump into a project, you go, what's this going to do for me? How do I angle it so that I can be fancier or look fancier? And I have over the last like 6 years in particular really grown in my ability to just be like, I am here because I said yes to this job, because I want to tell this story with these people. I want these crew members to feel loved. I want these actors to shine as best as they can. I want to make the best thing I can make right now, right here. I don't care what it does for me. I just want to do this for the joy of doing it.
Mm-hmm. I am obsessed with everything you just depicted. I think about when I wake up in my funk and I wake up in my bad days, I'm like, something's at the console and it's just, I wish it wasn't there and I don't know how to fix it. I mean, that's what it's like to struggle with your mental health is like, this isn't how I want to feel. This isn't the type of day I want to have. This isn't the version of me I want to be presenting today. But like, it's just so hard to always have it all together and always navigate it well. And in your post, you said, which I loved so much, that joy is relentless in the pursuit of us. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it in your reflection of how like we have to have the hope of, even if it is a shitty day and or we're depressed or we're anxious, like there is something in us that can spark. Mm-hmm. That can spark.
What that movie so powerfully said is that there is, I mean, I call it God living inside. Joy is like the embodiment of like a good a good God for that's how
Yeah.
I feel it. So that it is like, honey, I love you so much, and you are trying to take care of all kinds of things you don't have control over right now. And if you could just sit down and be present in this moment, take the next best step, take a breath in and a breath out. I'm here and I'm ready to take the wheel. Every single one of us, I believe it with every ounce of my being, every single one of us has that goodness inside of us, relentlessly pursuing joy, like pursuing us coming back to joy, because we were there when we were kids, right? We were there when there was no shame. And then shame enters as we grow older, and anxiety and all the things. And we have to remember that we were made for joy. We're designed for it. It's that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. I love it. I love it so much. Sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, I'm so anxious right now. And I've been saying to myself, anxiety, you can go sit down. Thank you for trying to take care of me, but I don't need you right now. Joy, come on. Come on with your sweet blue hair and your beautiful glowing face, and take the wheel. I want to be in joy right now, you know?
I resonate with that. I talk about that with my therapist, because when I feel that I'm getting this perfectionist, make sure everything's okay and there's a solution and an answer, I am like, it's that little freaking fuzzy orange person. I think it's important to know that there is something higher, greater. There's a power that's moving you and us. I love to use this example of, like, if you got a paper cut a week later, that cut will be healed.
Yep.
You didn't think about doing it. Yep. You didn't do it. Yep. You didn't tell your body to do anything. It healed itself, because there's something higher, greater than you. There's a body intelligence. There's a life intelligence. There's an earth intelligence. Like, and we get so disconnected from spirit when we're like in the phones, in the ego, in the paper, in the success, in the hamster wheel. And so many things in our society are built to take us from that. And I think that's what then causes the anxiety and the identity crisis and the lack of confidence in who we are. Yeah. But to slow down and take a deep breath and feel that sense of purpose in just this moment, it does so much. And I love how universal it is. Like, you have that experience, and I relate to it in my own way. And someone had to write the movie and do it, and people had to say, yes, this is what it is. Like, it's so human, and we just dog on ourselves. Like, I'm the only one struggling with this. Yeah. I'm the only one who can't figure this out, who gets stressed, who gets nervous. And it's like, no, this is a human experience. It's not who you are.
Yeah.
And
yes, exactly. It's a separate, it's a piece of things that are happening, but you don't have to be defined by your anxiety.
Right. You're probably a great mom.
Well, you know what's fun is that my son is very emotional. Like, he has big feelings, and he's very tender and very sensitive. So, like, we went to see Wild Robot, and he was just weeping in my arms next to me. He's 12, and had so many thoughts about it. Same with Inside Out, just weeping. And my daughter struggles with anxiety too, and so now she has language for it. So she goes, my anxiety's at the wheel again. I'm like, you can tell your anxiety to get in the massage chair. You know?
Yeah.
It's just so sweet. So we do talk in very, very, very therapeutic language at home, for sure.
And something I love too is you've been with your husband for such a long time, which is a rarity in this industry. It is. And I think that that's so special. Is it more than 20 years?
Yeah,
right
we've been
now?
married for 22 years and together for 25.
So special.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. I feel so grateful that I met him before entering into this industry, because I think I probably would have made a whole lot of really dumb choices.
Really?
Yeah, I think it just would have been, I think I would have been just swept up into any interest anyone took in me.
Right,
you know?
right.
Which becomes a lot more when you're all of a sudden on screen playing love scenes with people. Like, it's no joke. It's a challenging thing to kind of go, oh, no, none of this is real. You know?
Wait, I wasn't planning on asking you this, but now that you just said that, I have all these thoughts when I watch shows. Obviously, it's your job.
Yeah.
But, like, how does that work on a set? Like, the second they call cut, like, what if you're, like, mid-kiss? Like, is finishing the kiss, like, not okay? Like,
No, you finish the kiss.
Really?
Yeah, you finish the kiss. No, you're not going to, like, go in for longer, but,
Right.
like, you're not like, bleh.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
That's the thought.
And
But then
if you're fully connecting with someone to tell a story where these people have to really look like they really love each other, like, your heart's gonna race. You're gonna if you're fully going in. But the funny thing about it is just learning that I know this is false, but I'm gonna pretend it's very real for these moments right now. And then they're gonna say cut, and it takes a minute for your body to kind of remember that it's not real. And then, but like it's been an interesting journey to kind of learn how to navigate that. Literally, the thing that launched my career is playing Juliet, like the ultimate romantic character, just making out all the time on stage with my Romeo for 10 shows a week.
Right. Oh my gosh. Or what if you have to kiss someone that you're like not just attracted to?
What's interesting, I do find that developing chemistry is part of my job. Whenever I'm playing a romantic character, I have to find a way in to create chemistry that feels real for the camera. Whenever I meet the person, I do a little like hunting for the most lovely things about the person. So even if there's someone that makes me crazy off camera, I've done this work of hunting for and finding things that I really find delightful, so that I can kind of just put blinders on,
right, and honor the role
and engage. But the interesting thing about acting too is for all the emotions. I mean, that romance is one of the things, but like I played a pregnancy storyline when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I went into premature labor after shooting the labor, delivery, and death scene. And my daughter came a month early, and she was in the NICU for 2 weeks. The scene where I got cut open on Meredith's table, I almost blacked out on multiple takes doing this big crazy scream, because you're working yourself up into a fight or flight situation where all the cortisol is released, and you're like physically shaking still after doing something like that in a scene like that. If you're really diving into it, your body doesn't know the difference. So it's really about your mind going, this is not real, this is not real, you can calm down now, let's move out of the scene. And then you establish good boundaries for how you kind of wash the day away and wash the physicality out of it.
I love how you have your new, I guess, coping mechanisms, tools, strategies, things that you call on because you've learned so much throughout everything. Oh, yeah. I'm curious if there's one sort of mantra or statement you're coming back to now as you enter into these projects and whatever the future holds.
My biggest thing, I think, is holding things loosely. I think one of the big things about when Grey's ended was that I was just sort of grasping it, like gripping it really, really, really tightly, because it had become kind of a big part of my identity. So it was very hard to let go of it because it felt so ingrained in me. And now, over the course of, I've done a couple pilots that haven't gotten picked up, or I've done little short things that come and go and then they're over, and and then you move on to the next thing, and it really becomes about, I'm going to do this thing. I've chosen to do this thing. I'm going to do it with my whole heart, but I'm holding it very loosely. This doesn't need to be my end all be all. If Mistletoe Murders doesn't go for a second season, which I really hope it does.
Not good.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, I will be okay. It won't crush me, because I'm holding loosely to things. Like really locking into your true sense of self enables you to walk into every circumstance with big joy and big love, because you're like, I might only be here for 3 weeks. I might only get 3 weeks with these humans. So I'm going to make the most of these 3 weeks with these humans. Mm-hmm. And then if something else happens, that's great. Then I'll have that again. But I'm just loosening the grip on what this career is.
And I think everyone can take something from that, being process-based, not outcome-based.
Yes.
Enjoying the moment, the thing that you're doing, and knowing this is worth it. It's worth my time, my energy, my care, regardless of the outcome or the label or the validation from other people. Something that we all know but could never be reminded enough about. So thank you for reminding me, and thanks for being so open. I loved hearing about your mental health journey and how you've navigated your career, and I have admired all of the projects you've been in throughout the years. So it's been an honor to have you on Real Pod.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having
me.
I loved it.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.